Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I first of all like to welcome you to my very first video. Hopefully, it won't be the last. But uh, coming in off the rip, I just need to put this out there before we go any further. I need for us to go back and get something that I feel is invaluable that a lot of our good teachers instilled in us. Those of my generation, definitely older, some maybe a little younger, but it's something that's much needed, seemingly in today's day and time. I think we all should reinstitute this quick, fast, and in a hurry. It is tantamount, in my opinion, my humble opinion. But I think we all need to go back to that concept of putting on our thinking caps. You know, it's something that our teachers would tell us every morning before we would get the day started. Definitely. Everybody needs to come and put on their thinking caps. Why? Because the world that we are now living in is a bizarre world. It seems like everything is turned inside out and upside down. And only those among us who have their thinking caps on can rightfully, logically see things for what they truly are. Not what someone wants them to be or what someone has convinced them to be, what they truly are. So 2 plus 2 will always be 4. But in today's time, there's a lot of people that will have you believe that 2 plus 2 is 5. And without that thinking cap, they make it sound real good. And a lot of people have fallen behind that. So going forward, man, that will be one thing that I would try to drill and instill in everybody who comes across this channel. Man, it's time that we put back on our thinking caps and deal with what's in front of us. No cuts on it, no trying to dress anything up, none of that. We're gonna just deal with the facts. So with this first video, man, I saw this thing with Rand Paul and Levine. I just let you guys watch the video for yourself. But they was trying to say that he was homophobic, transphobic. They call him all kind of names. But it's another thing and another point that I want you guys to get. No investigation, no right to speak. We have to start living by these codes and these tenements, man. That's one of the main things that I need for people to start doing. If you don't do your investigation, you have no right to speak on the subject. So in this particular case, I would like for everybody to watch the video. First of all, put on your thinking caps. Then watch the video in its entirety. Hear what everything that was said by him. Hear what Levine responded. It seemed like it was a kind of robotic response, but it seemed like she said he or what. It seemed like this person gave almost the exact same answer each time to the question that was posed. Simple question deserves a simple answer. Complex questions, granted, would need to be answered complexly, and if the person has the ability, they could simplify it, but it was a simple question. So, but I won't say too much on that. I'll let you guys see the video and comment, what you think about it. So with that being said, man, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Genital mutilation has been nearly universally condemned. Genital mutilation has been condemned by the WHO, the United Nations Children's Fund, the United Nations Population Fund. According to the WHO, genital mutilation is recognized internationally as a violation of human rights. Genital mutilation is considered particularly egregious because, as the WHO notes, it is nearly always carried out on minors and is a violation of the rights of children. Most genital mutilation is not typically performed by force, but as WHO notes, that by social convention, social norm, the social pressure to conform, to do what others do and have been doing, as well as the need to be accepted socially and the fear of being rejected by the community. American culture is now normalizing the idea that minors can be given hormones to prevent their biological development of their secondary sexual characteristics. Dr. Levine, you have supported both allowing minors to be given hormone blockers to prevent them from going through puberty, as well as surgical destruction of a minor's genitalia. Like surgical mutilation, hormonal interruption of puberty can permanently alter and prevent secondary sexual characteristics. The American College of Pediatricians reports that 80 to 95% of prepubertal children with gender dysphoria will experience resolution by late adolescence if not exposed to medical intervention and social affirmation. Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex?
Well, Senator, thank you for your interest in this question. Transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field with robust research and standards of care that have been developed. And if I am fortunate enough to be confirmed as the Assistant Secretary of Health, I would look forward to working with you and your office and coming to your office and discussing the particulars of the standards of care for transgender medicine.
The specific question was about minors. Let's be a little more specific since you evaded the question. Do you support the government intervening to override the parent's consent to give a child puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and/or amputation surgery of breasts and genitalia? You have said that you're willing to accelerate the protocols for street kids. I'm alarmed that poor kids with no parents who are homeless and distraught, you would just go through this and allow that to happen to a minor. I would hope that you would have compassion for Kira Bell, who's a 23-year-old girl who was confused with her identity. At 14, she read on the internet about something about transsexual. She thought, well, maybe that's what I am. She ended up getting these puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones. She had her breasts amputated. But here's what ultimately she says now. And this is a very insightful decision from someone who made a mistake but was led to believe this was a good thing by the medical community. I made a brash decision as a teenager, as a lot of teenagers do, trying to find confidence and happiness, except now the rest of my life will be negatively affected, she said, adding that the medicalized gender transitioning was a very temporary, superficial fix for a very complex identity issue. What I'm alarmed at is that you're not willing to say absolutely minors shouldn't be making decisions to amputate their breast or to amputate their genitalia. For most of our history, we believe that minors don't have full rights and the parents need to be involved. So I'm alarmed that you won't say with certainty that minors should not have the ability to make the decision to take hormones that will affect them for the rest of their life. Will you make a more firm decision on whether or not minors should be involved in these decisions?
Senator, transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field, and if confirmed to the position of Assistant Secretary of Health, I would certainly be pleased to come to your office and talk with you and your staff about the standards of care and the complexity of this field.
Let it go into the record that the witness refused to answer the question. The question is a very specific one. Should minors be making these momentous decisions? For most of the history of medicine, we wouldn't let you have a cut sewn up in the ER, but you're willing to let a minor take things that prevent their puberty, and you think they get that back? You give a woman testosterone enough that she grows a beard, do you think she's going to go back looking like a woman when you stop the testosterone? You have permanently changed them. Infertility is another problem. None of these drugs have been approved for this. They're all being used off-label. I find it ironic that the left that went nuts over hydroxychloroquine being used possibly for COVID are not alarmed that these hormones are being used off-label. There's no long-term studies. We don't know what happens to them. We do know that there are dozens and dozens of people who've been through this who regret that this happened and a permanent change happened to them. And, you know, if you've ever been around children, 14-year-olds can't make this decision. In the gender dysphoria clinic in England, 10% of the kids are between the ages of 3 and 10. We should be outraged that someone's talking to a 3-year-old about changing their sex. I can't
Thank
vote
thank
for
you.
you if you can't
Thank you
make
so
a
much,
decision.
Senator Paul.